Hi, brother teacher here. I just read a story not too long ago about a young lady. Um, she was approximately 30 years old and she had 15 children. They were her biological children. The woman was in this stress, I guess you can say, for lack of a better word, because she was unable to take care of all of the children. From the last accounts, 12 of the children were with her, and who knows where the other three were at the time. But the woman was evicted from her home, apartment, slash house, whatever the case was, because she was not able to pay the bills or pay the bills on time. And according to news accounts, the landlord said that she did everything within her power to try to assist the lady in her struggles, and that she did have compassion and empathy for the lady and her children and her situation, as it were. But the mother didn't seem to uh, really pay attention to the writing on the wall. She made a statement at some point in the interview, more than one time with the news media, that someone needs to take care of these children. Now, from what I understood and for what I read, the lady was given assistance through the welfare system, if you will, and she had more than enough to take care of the food for a month. I believe it was over $700. And then she had living assistance, and then she had Medicare, if you will. And 15 children all living in what I believe was a two family dwelling, two bedrooms. And this is bad. Where did this behavior come from? A cycle. I'm very certain that it was a cycle. It is the welfare mentality. And let me jump back on the lady again. She was summoned to court for some issue or another related to the same. Um, and the judge asked her, was she pregnant? Now, this woman, mind you, has already had 15 children naturally born through her. And the judge asked her, was she pregnant? And she refused to answer that question. Uh, and the judge threatened her with jail time. So she still did not answer the question whether or not she was pregnant. So the judge gave her 90 days. So after thinking about it, the judge called back another convening court, and the lady was present, and she thought it not in the best interest of the woman's children to lock the mother up, who was, of course, a single parent. Now, mind you, some of the children's, and from what I understand, 10 of the children, they they belong to the father who was incarcerated for whatever reason, and this mother, as I said, was distraught. She was upset. She was angry. But at what? Should the system take care of you when you continue to behave in a frivolous manner such as this? Should the people, the taxpayers, pay your way? I don't think so. It's not fair to us. Now, I'm not vehemently angry with this young lady. I just believe that she's misguided. She lacks education on some level. She lacks common sense on a greater level. Now, she's living in a two-bedroom home with 15 children, and boy, believe me, they were stair-stepping in terms of age. I mean, a year apart and 2 years apart. And this was a young woman who was not even 40 years old with these children. And none of them were of the age of 17 or 18. Go figure. So the question remains, should the taxpayers pay for this young lady? And I thought, again, that it was pretty uh, bold that she had the audacity to make a statement more than one time that somebody needs to take care of these kids. I think the answer is no further than her, actually. She needs to look in the mirror. That's the culprit. Stop having babies. when you have no good fathers, when you have fathers that are drug dealers and criminals that hang in the streets. Such was her case. I'll leave that video in the description below for you so that you can see it actually for yourself. But there's many cases like this that we see, experience even in our own lives, and probably people that we have known and have met or run into. It is really a shame. The system should not take care of you and your children, and the taxpayers definitely should not take care of you and your children, because that's too much like making it easy for you, giving you a free ride, giving you the incentive to continue to have children without any penalty towards you. You know, the scripture says in the book of Genesis, God, Yahweh said, be fruitful and multiply. He didn't say be stupid. He didn't say be frivolous. He didn't say not use wisdom. If you're going to have children, my friends, men and women both out there that's listening to this video, if you're going to have children, make sure that you are prepared to have children. Not just financially, but emotionally. Make sure that you're mentally prepared and that you know what's ahead in your life, and that it's going to take 18 years for each child that you have at least before they can stand up straight and get out on their own. And you know, preparing for motherhood or fatherhood is a very risky job, because it is the most important job that any human being will ever have, is to raise another human being. It's important. It's more than just putting a roof over someone's head and food on the table and clothing on their backs, but it's their emotional standpoint. It is how they view the life, how they view the world in which they live. You have to give them the tools to survive in the world outside of those doors in which they live. Now, if you are having problems with this, then why in the world would you bring another life in the world that's going to perpetually have the same problem as you? So, marriage is a wonderful institution. Find someone that you genuinely love and who loves you back, who reciprocates that love. Don't go whoring around and hanging out in places where promiscuity abounds. Don't go hanging out in nightclubs trying to find that right person for you, because you're going to get what you're looking for, but it's not going to be what you need. Understand that, and that's on the male and the female side. Make sure sometimes that love is mutual, and then it's something that just happens, not something that you're looking for, because when you're looking for something, you may get the wrong thing. So also understand this, that when you bring a child into the world, they need a lot of your attention, because they get most of their information, most of their tutelage, most of their instruction from home, not the school, not the playground, not outside of the doors in which you live. You are the parent, and that is a grave responsibility that you have on your shoulders. Now, if it's hard to raise one child, and it's hard or even harder to raise 2 or 3, how in the world can you manage 10 to 15 children at one time? It is possible, it has been done. But the most important thing at the end of the day is the value that you instill in those children. And believe me, they're looking up at you. And so, since you are the principal or the primary example before their eyes, you better be very careful how you portray yourself, because you might end up with a criminal that's out on the street, male and female. So it's unfair to the child, is what I'm saying. I might be ranting on, but it's okay. But I still want to make my point. My point is this. We wonder why there's so much crime in the world. Oftentimes it's people who have been bounced around from foster homes. Oftentimes it's mothers and fathers who have children too early in their lives, or they have children, that they didn't expect to have because the father didn't have protection or the mother didn't have protection. and so forth. But remember, those are the consequences for not having protection. If you want to have sex casually, you need to think about the consequences. You need to think about the ramifications of what would happen if you had a baby. Oh, just a spree off to the abortion clinic and have them suck it up and cut it out of you. That's not fair to the child. It's not right to take another life, not based on those terms. So, in short, again, don't have children that you're not prepared to take on the responsibility and the risk, because it is a grave responsibility, as I said before. And children are beautiful, very beautiful, because God planted all of us here for a purpose. But conversely, they can also be your demise. We were put on this earth to enjoy it, all of us, the human family, not to raise somebody else's family as a nation. I understand the how did they say, the village mentality. I understand that. You know, the village has its place, but ultimately they're going to come home to you. And as I've stated before, they're on your lap when they're young, but they're going to be on your heart when they get older. And then they're going to hate you possibly, because you are not the example that you should be for them, because they got in trouble. That was really it. I could probably go on, but I think that's it. I think I've made the point that I wanted to make. Please leave your comments or your viewpoint in the description or comment section below, and check out the video. And I'll see you in the next video. So long.